Hello, and welcome to the Smith and Savage podcast. Here, I sit down with fellow makers, artists, and adventurers, people passionate about living their best life. Good people, good conversation. I'm your host, Levi Pollard. Let's get into it. This episode is sponsored by Going to the Sun Gallery. Nestled in the heart of downtown Whitefish, Montana, Going to the Sun Gallery is a place where the spirit of the American West comes alive. They showcase original artwork from local and national artists and offer a wide selection of Montana sapphires, gold jewelry, and Native American-made turquoise jewelry. Shipping is available to wherever you're listening. Visit them online at goingtothesungallery.com, where you can even find a bronze sculpture from yours truly. My guest today is none other than the infamous Mr. Bobby Hooper. Bobby is a dear, dear longtime friend. He's an entrepreneur, a musician, a bartender, and now bar owner at Afterlife in Portland, Oregon. In this episode, we talk about what led him to where he is now. We cover a lot of ground, some light and some dark, some grief, and some laughter. One quick note before we dive in, Bobby was living in Lahaina, Maui in 2023 at the time of the Lahaina Wildfires, and we talk about that experience in this episode. So if that's a sensitive subject, please listen in whatever way feels right for you. Bobby's a man who's experienced a lot of loss, but chooses to see life as a precious gift that it is, and still continues to lead with love. This is an adult conversation, so if you have kids nearby, earmuffs. Without further ado, here we go.
3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Bobby Hooper, welcome to the Smith and Savage podcast.
Thank you. So a good Maui story.
Yeah. So I love this one because it embodies your spirit for life and also involves nudity, which
Yeah.
many of the stories with you do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, why not?
Yeah. So we were at the beach in Maui, and we were hanging out with my brother and his wife, and so they went to go take a walk down the beach.
A sunset moment.
It was fully sunset, and then it was now evening, and they were down the beach a ways, kind of. And we were up on the lifeguard stand, up the beach a ways. And I look over at you, and you have this just a look in your eye, and I'm like, what? And you turn to me and you go, "Should I go run naked down the beach?"
Wouldn't that be great?
And I'm like, that's not what I thought he might be about to say, but but I go, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And you go, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it." And so you go down to the beach, about halfway between the lifeguard stand and where the water is. That's where you shed your clothes, left in a pile there. And I'm like, well, here he goes. So you take your clothes off. You went for your run, got a little distance, and then I had the bright idea of, what if I go steal his clothes? What if I grab his clothes and run off the other way? As you see in movies, these kind of things. So so I started heading toward your pile of clothes, but you turned and saw me making that way, and you knew instantly what I was about to do. So you come running full force, fully naked, straight toward me, and I'm going, oh gosh, if I don't grab those clothes and run off before he gets there, he's just gonna tackle me fully naked. And so you're running like straight at me. I was like, nope, I'm out, and turn around the other way.
And I believe I chased you, at least for a little bit.
I ran off, and then you ran right past the clothes, and then just still kept chasing me down the beach. Oh my gosh, I hope somebody saw that. One of the things, what I love about that story is it's a great example of how you view life and its precious moments. And that was we're here right now, and we're and we're alive. And what would be a greater symbol of my aliveness than just stripping down naked and just running down the beach?
Yeah, come on, people.
Yeah.
Get with the program. Yeah, because why not? Like, but it's also like, in that moment, you're like, that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Uh-huh.
It's also like, what part of the script is like, uh, can you just completely go like, oh, it's, please and thank you are written in the script, but which part can you just go completely off script, off book?
Right.
Wasn't expecting it. What's the dumbest, silliest, whatever bullshit thing you could do? It's not going to hurt anyone,
Yeah.
unless
Right.
unless you get hurt by sexy. But it's like, what? Like, in that moment, have some fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and also now, I mean, before that, the story was we like watched the sunset and had a nice time watching other people walk down the beach.
Yeah.
And now
What if?
instead,
Yeah.
we have
What
this
if?
story.
Yeah. What if that was like? What if that was the story of our friendship? We have a really great time watching other people have a beautiful,
Yeah,
wonderful life.
right.
Like, no, come on. Like, that's boring.
Uh, and I
That's incredibly boring.
and I remember too. I remember Josh coming back. They came back from their walk, and him dryly going. It reminds me of couples retreat, but him dryly going, "Was he naked?" And I'm
You
like,
were what? Yeah, yeah. You
"Yep,
were wondering who saw that. It was me.
yeah,
Is that what I? Is
yeah."
that what I saw?
There was a witness to it.
Uh, there's like more moments of just. I mean, why we're friends, but like also not. It's not a boring friendship. So
Yeah,
thank you for that.
yeah, yes,
Gr-
yeah. Good times with Bobby and Levi.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, why don't you tell a bit about just some of your background and what you're up to, and say someone asks you what you do, like, what do you say?
I say I'm a creative. I like to think of myself as an artist, and the whole point is, I don't think you can really say that unless you actually create or build some cool shit. But like right now these days, because you were such a big part of it, I'm like, yeah, I'm a bar owner. I own a bar called Afterlife in Portland, Oregon. I play music from time to time, and I mostly just try to enjoy life and make sure that the feeling is the same for anybody that's around me. It should be enjoyed. We should enjoy it.
Yeah,
I went, yeah, I went to a show one time. What was the name of Lou Reed's, or R.I.P. Lou Reed, but his wife, Lori, I think Lori Anderson, his last wife. I don't know if that's her last name, but she was talking, was she's 77 years old, and this woman is still touring and playing shows. She's an incredible musician. I went to see her recently in Portland. Yeah, but Laurie Anderson this show was just this like peaks and valleys of music and weird like speaking over top of what sounded like chaos, but then turned into a song type of music, like avant-garde New York artist from the 70s, but she would also read poems and then talk about what her Buddhist teacher would say or what this teacher in a different religion would say. And at one point she's like, yeah, one of my mentors said, I think the point of life is to have a really, 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 really good time.
I love that.
It's as
I
simple as that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, if you're not having a good time, what are we doing this for?
I honestly don't know. I enjoy trying to answer the question every day and then finding joy in staying present. So
That's great. So you mentioned Afterlife in Portland. So what led you to that spot, wanting to own and open a bar?
well, our friendship goes back. Newsflash, everyone listening, our friendship goes back quite a ways. And I've always been a bartender. Thing that gets, it's a fallback career. I think if you've never bartended or been in the service industry, you should do it, at least for
Mhm.
like a few months, just to remember your own humanity. It's a humbling experience, but then it's also like if you're good at it, and it's, for me, it's the bar world and being a bartender, that can feel like a stage, and you can kind of feel like you're performing a little bit, or at least letting people, feel like a good time through your good energy.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I've always wanted to have a bar. I think it's just like the thing that you've gotten good at, like out of circumstance, like to pay some bills. You've gotten so good at it that it's it's that moment where you want to self-express through it. And you're like, oh, what if I did this for me? Like, what would it look like? What would it feel like? Who would I connect with? It's like to be the engine or the creator, not just the bartender.
Yeah, well, that's part of what makes you in particular, but any bartender good at that is you feel responsible, like you're curating that experience for your people that are joining you there at the bar.
Yeah, yeah, and cultivating community. It's fun, and at the end of the day, it's like that. The money exchange, for example, is kind of like the last thing that is meaningful, and I think that's like I think that's really great to do something just for the expression and the curation of it. And then it's like, it's sort of, if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So I guess it's just having a bar was a deep dive on that. And then also, like, we can't talk about, we can't talk about the bar without talking about, Lahaina burning down. So that's where I was most, that experience with you and working in Maui and having our little Maui lives for 3 to 6 months at a time, or however long it took us to flip a place. I always felt like Maui was very, there's certain places on Earth that Earth should just feel like home, right? Because we're human. But it's really nice when certain specific locations on Earth have a stronger connection for you. And Maui's easily does that to everybody, easily. And I finally, coming out of the pandemic and coming off of your 40th birthday, I finally kind of was over my LA life and my trying to make something happen. Like, I wasn't sure what I was trying to make happen anymore living in LA, because there was like, oh, I should keep trying to play music, even though I'd never played in a band in LA. It was always living with band members and helping them out in their bands, and
Being
not
around it.
being around it. And I think that all of that creativity kind of rubs off on you. But then there was like, maybe I could be an actor. And then you get stuck doing background work or stand-in work or doing PA work, rather than going to the classes that help you craft your skill, and then landing the gig, and being the actor, being the musician. LA was just an interesting place where it's like, if you say you're going to create, you actually have to create.
Mm.
But that's not unique, like anywhere you are in the world. If you say you're going to do this, you actually have to do the thing.
Hmm.
And I think I got very much caught up in being a bartender. I got very much caught up in the scene rather than creating a scene, just like being a part of the scene. That was LA. So
That's when it turns into the Paul Rudd. Yeah, I used to bartend back when I was working my way through bartending.
yeah, I don't think it's being honest with yourself. I think that's the last thing people usually are. I think it's I took a course in coaching. I'm saying this as if you don't know that I did it, but I know you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For anyone's listening, Levi and I both have done coaching type courses. But I think the biggest thing that stuck with me from a course like that was the look, see, and tell the truth thing. And before I knew that phrase, which is I just think is a great string of words, I kind of was feeling that in myself. Like, when you start, you spend 16 years in LA, with -3 that I lived abroad. But when you spend that much time in one place and you haven't gotten much traction and you're wondering and you don't have a strong companionship with anyone, like a partner, or some of the things that you thought you'd have, like say by the time you're early 30, as a 20-year-old, you're having a lot of fun. In your 20s, you're having a lot of fun. I felt like I was doing a lot of coming of age living in LA. But then when 10 years go by and you're kind of doing the same thing, you kind of subconsciously look, see, and tell the truth. And if you're in tune with yourself enough, that kind of bleeds over into
The fourth one,
yeah, exactly.
which is then take authentic action.
Yeah, take action. So I think the pandemic took a lot of action for people. Like whether you were ready or not, you had to.
Yeah. Put them in a spot where it was like, you got to reevaluate.
Yeah. So not necessarily that it was the pandemic itself that did that for me, but it was definitely exiting from LA because of the pandemic. So I guess it did it. But it was not living in LA for a minute. I went out to the desert. And then by the time your birthday came around, I was able to see Maui again. That was an amazing birthday.
Yeah, absolutely. Dream come true for me. It was like, I don't usually do big stuff for my birthdays, but that one, 40 benchmark. And yeah, I was like, well, let's go to Maui.
Yeah.
And you were instantly, I messaged you and you instantly were like, yep, I'm there. And
yeah, it felt special.
yeah, that was epic. That was a great trip. And yeah, and my boys being there too, and the family coming over as well, and getting to spend time in the condo.
Yeah.
That from all the way back in 2007 that we were working on and remodeling that first one. So we got to have my 40th birthday party there in that condo, my mom's place, which was also, she was getting ready to sell it. So it was kind of a last hurrah for that too, and saying goodbye.
It was beautiful.
And then that ended up being kind of
So as I'm going through my LA life and pandemic and coming out of my own ups and downs with relationships and realizing what you want in life, there was a subconscious like, look, see, tell the truth. And then here we all are full circle back to being in Maui and for a wonderful celebration. And it was good to reconnect with that place when a place speaks to you. And it's also one of those things. And I really love the Smith and Savage ethos in the description of what a Smith is, what a Savage is. This something refined and something wild, something, tamed, untamed, sort of this. The duality is everything. I think in other language, people would say the chaos and the flow. And for me, I say like the clean and the chaos.
don't
I think
you have both of those tattoos?
I have I have like a little scribble on one arm and then what looks like a wave, like a very easy flow on another arm.
So yeah, you have your chaos on one and flow on the other.
I call it clean chaos.
That's awesome.
Because when is everything not chaotic?
Right.
And when do you not feel that in you? I was speaking. I have someone that's like a sister to me, Sarah, over in Germany. She's like, what is? There's not in the German language. There's not like a direct word for anxiety. If there is, maybe I missed what she was trying to say, but she was saying that like anxiety is a unique word to English in what it means. Like,
interesting.
Germans understand this as something innate,
It's just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like I'm standing on the street corner. I'm afraid I'm going to get hit by a car. Oh my God, that gives me anxiety. I can't stand here. I can't do this. No, it's like, of course that's the fear. And of course that's there. And I breathe through it and I, look for the safe passage. Like there's like that whole everything boiling down, you get what I'm saying? Like everything boiling down to like crippling anxiety is not like, this is all part of life. So, and there's real things in life that pull the rug out from under you. And that's kind of where all of my story is going right now, is that I finally, that subconscious level caught up to my conscious level, and I was being truthful about certain relationships that had fallen apart and certain things that I put efforts into that hadn't worked, and where I was living in LA isn't where I want to live. And then we go to have your amazing birthday, and I realized I can make all this chaos that I'm feeling, I can find the line, this clean line through it, and I can just make my life look whatever I want it to look like. And that's not like, anybody can do that. There's no rite of passage for that. That is the Smith and Savage in everybody. Everybody has this, and everything you have to overcome in your own life is unique to you. And it may not be easy and it may seem impossible, but the reality is like, hey, wait, what do I want to do? So the fact that the timing worked out that I could show up for your birthday and be feeling all these feels and having all these thoughts and not really be too attached to any of it, but to maybe shift my focus and say, oh, I've always wanted to live here. Why can't I live here? But more importantly, I think it's like, you listen to both sides. You listen to the chaos that's in you, but you also listen to this clean line. And if you can go about being a savage through the precision of being a smith, like, you're creating your life, and then you really are the artist. And I think there's so many different books about this, like The Artist's Way is one of them. So many different podcasts, so many different people. I mean, all throughout history, this is the yin and the yang, like this duality and this thing that we're trying to do is not.
Yeah, and all of life is navigating that balance, finding it for yourself.
It's all unique to everybody, and yet it's just, there's nothing unique about it. It's a conundrum in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I like to think I'm an artist, and what have I created? All those things I didn't do in LA, for example, like have a band and play music and create a bar, like I started to do in Maui, which I thought which I think is really interesting. I kept thinking I had to be in LA. That's where you make it.
Yeah. Well, and then you also had your iteration that in the desert too, that you were looking at trying to make something happen there at one point in time, and then play around that as well. And then at this point, you decided to take the action to move over to Maui full time, and then it sounds like those things started opening up for you.
Yeah, I worked with a great bar group out of LA called the Go Group, and they had a bar, the Dirty Monkey in Lahaina. And it was one of those things where I had gotten a job with a beer, like a new brewery that, for all the red tape of getting a place open, they never actually opened. Fun fact. But I had a job with them. And then I think when you decide to take action anytime in life, their pathways it helps the clearing of other pathways naturally. I don't know how to speak about this. Like, you could say, oh, other doors open or this and that. It's like, no, when you are going through the chaos, there is a line. And if you can keep following that line, at each turn, more of it sort of gets revealed. So when I decided to take action, I could see more of that road. And I was like, well, don't get distracted with all the other things I could do. Just like, what do I need in this moment? Okay, well, I need a job. And then all of a sudden you don't just have one job, you have two jobs, or you realize you have resources. Like I had a previous employer that also had a bar in this location. So if you have a foot in the door somewhere, you still have to put the work in. You still need to see who's who, and you still need to, but it's also use those past experiences to help move you forward. So finding a job was pretty good. It wasn't like an immediate thing, but the point I'm making is that like because I took the action to get myself to a place I wanted to be, other things became more accessible. Other opportunities became more accessible. And I followed up accordingly. And then because I worked at the Dirty Monkey, I worked with a guy that was a great trumpet player and, or not trumpet, but trombone, Dave. And he was a singer. And he kept telling me how uh, he's got this guitar player and he's got a violinist and they know a drummer and they just need a bass player. But about the third time that I heard that, I was like, I'll play bass. He was like, you play bass? I was like, yeah, I play guitar. I'm like, yeah, I can play. I can just play. I don't want to explain it to you. I'll just I will hit the note when I need to hit the note. I can do that. Uh, and then all those years of not playing sort of got course corrected immediately. Again, because I took action.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I wasn't taking action in LA, but sometimes there's just you're taking action on the chaos. You're being a complete savage and it's fun and you're doing something else. You're forming other parts of yourself. But to really dial it in and get the precision, there's like this take action in this one. It's like do that, breathe.
Yeah, and also, like, when you're doing that and you're on the path, it's like it's like one, just a little bit to the left and you're out of that flow, and a little bit to the right and you're out of that flow, but like right there making that choice of what you're heading toward, you're in the slipstream, and the way just keeps opening up for you.
Yeah. I mean, everything's a surfing metaphor at the end of the day, you know? There's a certain line on the wave that you're trying to hit. You can be, lower, higher, but you want to be in the pocket. You can speak about the same thing in so many different ways,
Right.
like a drummer being in the pocket. The beat's it's going to sound right. Everything else is going to sound better because of that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think, I mean, as I think about this in relation to what I'm doing now, I'm just showing up more and more for my own life and taking action towards the things that I want that ultimately shape the reality that I'm having, which is the reality is going to unfold regardless. But it's really nice to be like, to have your fingers in the play, like, rather than just, I don't know, having someone else do all that work. It's fun. It's fun to be here now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
That
kind of where
makes
I'm at.
total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so back to Lahaina then as well, how that played a role in where you find yourself now. How did that go?
Well, that was devastating. The Maui fires. I had only moved there about 3.5 years prior to that. It was horrific.
Can you tell a bit about the circumstances around the timing of that and what was going on for you?
Well, for Anna, for my fiance, she had lived there for 10 years, and there's people that born and raised there. There's that town was so iconic for the world.
Hmm.
It's just a big loss. It just is like, I don't have a lot of these moments anymore where I slow down and really think about it. Um, and like a lot of it sometimes is like helping, like not these things can get you down. That was a big loss. So it's like sometimes I'm concerned about making sure someone else doesn't get pulled down by these feelings. But when I really stop to think about it, like in this moment, I'm getting a little emotional right now. It's it was it, the devastation was horrific, and you can't really wrap your head around that unless you're somebody that has maybe seen like a war zone or are a firefighter or have experienced a fire at that magnitude. Like the fact that the California fires and the the Palisades are gone, like that imagery from another place I call home, LA,
Yeah.
is like, it's very similar. It's like, that's just absolute devastation. Like It's the things that were there are no longer there. Total reset. So for us, there's like some weird guilt. Like I don't have a survivor's guilt, but there was an odd timing in my personal story as it relates to that event. We had a flight. We were leaving the island that day. We, out of circumstance, had a flight planned to go see family in Oregon because my girl's birthday was shortly after that date, August 8th. So by chance, we had a flight planned, and I just remember waking up that morning after shutting down the bar, and the bar was like, I think that happened on like a Tuesday or something. It was like a Monday night, and it was like the worst. It was just an odd Monday night. I think people were like drinking in a sloppy way. It was just not like, there was nothing special, and the weather the night before started to get really turbulent. That was, I think, Hurricane Dora, like 100 miles away. It's somewhere in the Pacific, but it was like the night before was just something felt off, right? So I shut the bar down, classic, get home 2 a.m., go to bed, pop up 9 o'clock hour, and it's even more of a mess. It was hard to go to sleep that night because the wind was, banging things around. We pop up. I remember Anna had said that she had gone outside and, to this day has this bad imagery of just a whirlwind that she had saw. And everything felt off when you can feel that something's off, but you don't know what it is. It's like, it's that trust your gut moment. And something was just like, something was not right. Like you looked out at the ocean that morning and it was like a cauldron, like the water, it looked like the water was boiling, but it was like, it was, you know what I mean? Like so much wind. It was just, the waves were going off.
Ominous.
Yeah, it was ominous for a place that looks like a picture perfect place every day. It was very off, and telephone poles were swaying like palm trees. Like the roof was flying off of some of these old buildings in Old Town. And all that I could think about was, we got to get to the airport. Like if our flight's going to leave, we don't want to miss it. And if it's not going to leave, like, I don't want to be here because this is a mess. Like, let's just get, we gotta get to the airport. And the airport's in the middle of like the two parts of Maui. So it was just crazy. It was just like a whirlwind, literally, of chaos as we are trying to find that clean line to the airport, and in ourselves. You knew something was off. And I think even Anna said it. She's like, I have a bad feeling. I hope there's not a fire. And we got on the plane, and we were taking this trip for her birthday. So we get on the plane just thinking, oh, we made it. The flight's still happening. We're off to celebrate. And it's a 5.5-hour flight to the West Coast. And by the time we get over the Pacific and land, we are getting off the plane and opening our phones to chaos, to text messages that don't make sense, to everything, people wondering if we're okay. Did we get out? And of course, we don't understand what they're asking us because we were in the air, out of cell phone service, missing this horrific event. And eventually, somewhere in a group thread of like surfers or something, I found this horrific image of a towering inferno of smoke and just complete like loss of everything. Like there's I have since blown up that photo, and it's what is in the formal entryway at Afterlife, because it's beautiful until you realize what it is.
Yeah.
you know so yeah, that's kind of my experience with what happened. I missed it, and yet I very much feel the effects of it, as if I didn't have to escape or run for my life. And that's, I think, where there's a survivor's guilt, or whatever they call it. I think that's where that comes in, where you just, your brain, the mind loves stories, right? So it will be like, well, it will fill in the what if scenario. But in this case, there's so many people that have so many horrible stories. Our neighbors, someone down the street, someone online. Like, there's no shortage of knowing what happened. And some of the video footage I've seen just from where we were right off Winnie, like, it's terrifying. So there's a part of me that's very grateful that for whatever reason we decided to fly out that day. There's a part of me that wishes I was there, that wished I could have helped. It's just insane what your mind does over a situation like that. But at the end of the day, it's a horrible feeling because it feels like the band broke up, like your favorite thing is no more. And that's the light way of talking about it. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and then for you, also realizing, I mean, that was now your home, and then you weren't planning on being gone for a long time. It was just a trip, and now it's like
Yeah.
that whole home was just taken away.
Yeah, when the and that's what I was saying, like when the rug is pulled out from under you, it's and not just like for me, but for everybody and for the community and for, I mean, infrastructure. That it's we're over a year later, and I think there's been one actual residential home that's been rebuilt. Yeah, like the actual the I mean, just like it's hard to wrap your head around. I mean, just think of like a few city blocks anywhere and then just be like, all that's gone, but you have to scrape down to the pipes and redo everything. Like, just to rebuild that place is going to take it's already an enormous amount of energy, but that feeling isn't gone, you know? There's the political shout out to Lahaina Strong, like the political steps people are having to take to make sure that this gets rebuilt and everyone is, being recognized, that just the community effort, like, it's incredible. I mean, it leaves nothing but destruction. And in the wake of that, I think there's some really important things to not miss as you rebuild. But for me, in my story, we found it advantageous to be with family and to be closer and more accessible to people that we love and that, some people in our lives. We're all getting older. But after that event, Levi, there's a part of you that's like, you realize that the bag you packed for a one-off trip was the worst bag you could have ever packed.
Uh-huh.
There's a part of you that looks at that bag and goes, well, fuck me. Like, there's like, like that is all the stuff that I own, all the stuff in the world, like, and then there's this huge,
And you probably just tossed it in there and rushed out the door in the morning going,
yeah,
we gotta go. We
yeah,
gotta get out
because
of here.
it was a mess and
Yeah.
we wanted to catch a flight, it's like, I can't believe it. So yeah, there's a real like candy flip moment where once you get over all this like sadness and the what if and all the horror of it, there is some like, I often think life is a dark comedy, you know, like there's there's also like this playful side that comes out where it's like, well, what do we do now? Like, I guess I don't have a home. I don't have anything to show for the last however long of my life, like material wise, like you're just like, wow, everything has the entire script has changed. Well, I guess I'm just gonna go buy some underwear and a toothbrush. Like, it's like, I don't, it's so weird. But there was also this moment where it was incredibly freeing. Um, where I was like, for like every night, first of all, I was the first few days after an event like that, I don't really remember. There was like a blank spot of like 5 days. I know that I was staying with my friend Mark, but like I remember like the one of the first nights after that happened, we were supposed to stay at our buddy Mark's house like 1 or 2 nights, and it turned into like 5 nights. I think, something like this. But I just remember one night I was asleep. I couldn't fall asleep. And then the second that I fell asleep, something woke me up and 1 million thoughts came flooding into my mind with what am I going to do? Some version of what am I going to do? What about this? What about that? What about these things? Those credit cards, this account, that thing, those places, these people. Like, and I remember just opening my eyes and I looked across the bed and Anna's just staring back at me. Like she was having the same experience, or maybe she didn't even fall asleep at all. And it was like that for nights where your mind will not stop racing. And there's like from that, there's like this delusional quality where it almost becomes comical, where you're like, oh, this is it. Like, you don't have I don't have a job anymore. I don't have not just a home, but like the whole life, the whole routine, your day to day, like all of it's just gone. It was the weirdest experience. I don't know. I've had a lot of loss in my life, but
Yes.
yeah, but to have, but to have like it around stuff and life and where you were going, where you were putting your efforts.
Sure. Yeah. Plans.
Yeah, like things that you can't really, like you lost things that you couldn't touch in that moment,
Yeah.
which is a weird point to describe. Like, it's like, well, I guess I don't have a band in Maui anymore, even though I do. Those guys are still there. I could, I'm sure they could find a better bass player, but it's not going to be me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like that magic of that thing is like you lose a piece of that too. So yeah, so it's just there's a point where it becomes comical and you're like there's something free, like it frees you in that moment, but not in the way that you wanted to be free. And then you realized that's all that being free is. And once I realized that I didn't have to put so much pressure on myself, then I think I started to at least get a few hours of sleep.
Yeah. So, yeah. So you mentioned, and I'm, stuff that I'm aware of as well, but you mentioned that you've experienced a lot of loss in your life. And that's one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is from your past experiences, and then this included, how do you look at grief and processing things like that, the rebuilding of your life and like the next steps? How do you view that?
Well, it's the best way to answer that. You know that do you still use Headspace to meditate?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And I love Andy's little, like the little come to Jesus moment, where he's talking to you before the guided meditation. You know, those little like sound bites,
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
gives? One of my favorite ones was he was like, to live wisely is to keep death by one side. And I think that my relationship with grief, and I was able to, with, losing our home and going through that experience, I was able to understand, because to me, you lose stuff and you lose a home and you lose those efforts that I spoke about. Like you lose that direction that your life was going, for example. Not that it's a total loss. Like I could still be in Maui today. It just would be very different. I think my process with grief is what I'm trying to get at was nothing, no thing, no material item that I lose to me is ever as precious as losing people. Um, and that's the main sadness of that event was a horrific amount of lives were lost. And in my personal life, neither one of my parents is with me. A woman that I fell in love with in Germany died suddenly. Um, and I have those experiences where I've lost those relationships that are the closest, outside of maybe a child. um, it's that inner circle, tight knit. It's those people. It's when you lose those people that really fuck up your world. No matter how much focus or how well things go for you, whenever that happens, it's the chaos, and you have to like embrace that. I think in my life, the way I've dealt with grief is and especially after losing Jules Mapper, the girl I was with in Germany, especially after losing her, because it's someone you fall in love with, and it's a partner, and there's a spark, and there's like an excitement, and there's a direction, there's a whole story unfolding that seems bigger than you, and that's often just how love goes. That hurt the most. And I think from that experience, I went into a very dark place. But it was in that kind of that darkness is when you realize that you can live really wisely if you keep death by one side. And it's not to fear death, and it's not to think that it shouldn't happen, or that it's unfair, or that the world is against you. It's to acknowledge that that is the ending of the story for everybody. At what point is unknown, but that should help you live wisely and also want to have a really, 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 really good time, right?
Yeah.
So I think how my own process has been is to realize that those things, those loss, whenever you lose someone or you have a tragic event that hits that hard, is that the chaos doesn't need to be all consuming. It might feel all consuming. With it, it's an opportunity to accept and to honor what has been lost. There's a slowing down. I was speaking the other night. There's this great guy named Harold. We call him H. There's a company called Gorilla Milk. He was talking to me about the bar, and he's like, "This is a gold mine." He's like, "But if you want to blow it up, you'll blow it out of the water." He's like, "This is slow motion. You need to take it slow. You need to grow the right way." And I think that, that business advice, little soundbite, that is very much, I think, what I learned to do with grief is that it doesn't have to ruin your world anymore, but there should be a who am I to, it's different for everybody, and it's going to just feel, it's a wild thing, man. It is, but I just like, it's foolish to think that, I mean, no one's getting out of here alive. Like,
Right. Yeah.
It's like,
Memento mori.
yeah, yeah. Truly remember your death and remember to live, because whatever the belief system is, whether there's many lives or one, whether this is a YOLO moment or not, is kind of beside the point. I like be present, and if you can, if it's within your bandwidth, if you have the emotional bandwidth for this, I have learned in my process is that to use the grief and to use the pain instead of letting it use you up or eat you up, is to take it and express it in a way that you leave things better than you found it, Because what's finding you is pain, and what's finding you is hurt and the discomfort and sadness. And if you can have a moment and rest in that and cry it out, and then get up and use it and leave the world better than you found it, because you can't take it with you, you're not going to stay here, then you can start to keep death by your side, because in those moments of grief, death is right there. She's probably saying, I'm sorry. It's just, it's part of, life. It's just part of the package here. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
But you can start to make some wise choices, and the biggest choice. Sorry, I'm the wisest. I don't know, but it's to not let it destroy you. Is the most important piece of wisdom, is that it's not meant to destroy. None of this is meant to hurt. It's just going to.
Yeah.
But what you can do with it is really beautiful. And then you start to see certain things as like, of course, some events you wish never happened, or some people you wish you never lost, but you start to have almost like a gratitude for what it's taught you. Not that
Yeah.
the person's gone, but like that experience and the way that it has made you grow is you start to have gratitude. And then that's another like wisdom, is that everything really comes from a place of gratitude. So at least that's what I think I've learned from all the grief, as I say these things, holding back, like wanting to choke up, but yeah, I very much put, and especially the last experience of losing home base and losing Lahaina, I very much put that into, okay, if that was my old life, what is my afterlife? I
Yeah.
very much, yeah. So,
Yeah. And that's something, I mean, from what I've seen you do since then and in times past is exactly what you were just describing. And you have gone from there, and now you have incorporated that experience and used it to help you create the space that you've created now and what you're doing now, taking experiencing the gratitude and strength and the things that you find after sifting through the ashes.
yeah, which I never got to do,
Yeah.
believe it or not. Anna went back, but I never went back. And a part of me just thinks, oh, why do I have this drive that I have? And it's probably because I don't have like a physical moment of closure.
Yeah.
There's got to be a piece to that where it's like, I don't, it's still this crazy open-ended process for me. And I think maybe whether I sift through the ashes literally or not, I think that's how some pain and some loss truly is. It's an open-ended process. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah. So it's always fun getting, it's so heavy, but it doesn't have to be, there is a point where you can just have gratitude and enjoy this day, this moment right now.
Yeah, well, and seeing those things, I mean, that's yeah, part of life. Learning how to dance with the different pieces
Mm,
that
yeah.
life throws at you, and there's good times and bad times, peaks and valleys. Let's take a second to talk about Headspace. Most of us live in a constant state of noise, notifications, deadlines, expectations. Headspace is one of those tools that I've found that really helps to slow things down. Meditation doesn't have to mean sitting on a mountaintop for an hour. Sometimes it can just be 10 minutes to reset your nervous system. And that's what Headspace is built for. Even if you've never meditated before, Headspace makes it so easy to find mental clarity. This show isn't sponsored by them yet, but it's something I've used and enjoyed. We mentioned it in the episode, and it has helped me a lot. There's also an intro to meditation on Netflix provided by Headspace, and that's definitely worth checking out. It goes into the scientifically backed benefits that meditation can bring. All right, back to the show. One of the things that you said to me in a conversation past was you were talking about some of the things that you didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what this held, and I didn't know this. And you said, but what I did know was I'm still here,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I am still alive. I still have a life to live.
Yeah.
And yeah, that has stuck with me as well in a perspective shift of acting on what you do have.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it
Yeah.
is. It's like when all the other distractions, I mean, when all the other things in life, when all the other choices are gone, it's kind of a beautiful thing to just be like, well, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I have all my limbs, I can smile in this moment, to fall on, there's an old poem called Promise Yourself. by Christian D. Larson, and it's in the Your Forces and How to Use Them book. Did I give you this book?
You did.
Okay, good. Written in 1912, but one of the lines is to always look on the sunny side of life. Incredibly difficult to do sometimes, but if you can embrace your darkness and use it, you can always see the way forward. Yeah, and I'm still here. It's pretty fun. Yeah, thanks for letting me go there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, these are things that it's difficult to talk about too.
Yeah, I always try to, my buddy Shagun said, he gave me a great line because I was very conflicted with opening the bar in the story and the narrative around the Maui fires and this new business. Like, it's very much born of that, but should I be leading with that? How much of it feels like a woe is me? Not, I mean, I'm not trying to say that the wrong way, but it was like it was just one of those things you weigh out because you don't want it to have you don't want a place that someone's going to go and enjoy and have a good time to just be this like real punch in the gut, like sucker punch like type of feeling. You know what I mean? And I think that you were so helpful, like in the way that you spoke about me, and the way that I think we were, for everyone listening, Levi was a big part of getting that place remodeled and his crew. And it was the efforts of like a GoFundMe or like a campaign to be like, hey, support this new business. It was, I was a little sensitive around that narrative. But it's the truth. There's nothing wrong with it. My buddy Shagun was like, well, it's your story. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's literally what happened. Like, just remember, and the best line was, he was like, if you sell them horror, give them hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's horrific. It's sad, but that's not the focus. The focus is, for me, always the hope. And that process, I think, is really stunningly beautiful and wonderful and not easy, but it's always worth charging at with, with mud on your face and just like going for it. It's like, that's when you feel alive, you know? So I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So tell our listeners then. So now what is the time frame from when you then decided to stay in Portland and and then to doors open for Afterlife.
Yeah. So I guess that was like August 2023, fires happened. We, in September, had a trip planned to September, October back in 2023. We had this planned trip to go to Ireland. Neither of one of us had been to Ireland. Friend Nick Kramer and Brianna, you know them, had this. They put together this tour package, so it was like stay at hotels, and so we had this trip planned for and paid for. Thank God.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like this fun. It very much took our minds off of things.
Was that a decision that you had to make? Did you consider canceling that in light of things, or were you like, or that's on the books, it's happening? So,
Well, the fact that we had to fly out of Maui, that the tickets were, we just didn't know when, if, how we would go back to Maui. And then also the boat that a lot of my friends who stayed found themselves in was like, what do we do for housing? Where do I go? And then it was like the hotels were opening up, and then the hotels were kicking you out after a certain amount of time. Airbnbs had offers, but only for like a week or two. Like, the reality of staying on Maui became exponentially, like, in the moment, difficult. So this trip being planned was a real blessing of sorts, if I can use that word. There was some like, there was like a why wouldn't we do this? And now more than ever, like, let's get some space.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that I'll just say this, that was like a 2.5 week trip, and it turned into 2.5 months,
Wow. Yeah.
which, I guess when you need to shed some skin, you shed some skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much needed.
Yeah, and it was beautiful because and this is why I say, like, it's a big loss for the world because everyone that we told or everyone that knew the story who were close to us, after living in Europe for a little bit, like living in Hamburg, I kind of have my little Hamburg tribe, I have my Hamburg fam over there, but I stay in touch with a lot of people. People from around the world were reaching out about Maui. It wasn't just family and friends in the States. This was an intersection of the world. A lot of people call Maui the heart chakra of the world, which I think is a really sweet thing and possibly true. Like, I don't know. So everyone that we spoke to, like in Hamburg or with some friends in Berlin, like everybody was like, this is a horror story. They're like, whatever we can do for you, let us know. And we're like, well, we just have these 2 suitcases, like, and we're just passing through, because we went from Ireland to Scotland and that was that trip. And then I was like, I can't be on that side of the world and not go back to Hamburg. And Sarah was like, come stay. Of course, come stay. And then we just kind of kept hopping around. Our dear friend Christy Hay was like, well, I have this trip planned. I'll be in Greece at this time. And for just a couple €100 here and there, we can upgrade how many people are at this Airbnb and this one and this one. And do you want to join us on our work vacation trip? Then we did that. We said yes. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden, yeah, going to Ireland turned into my old stomping grounds, Hamburg, turned into going through Greece with a dear friend. And then our buddy Mark.
And also, yeah, dear friend of mine, Christy Hay, as well. But that we have our connections there too. We all spent time together in Maui, and that was part of.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually the catalyst for me meeting Christy.
Yeah. This is a good story.
Was that you and I were going to Maui, and thanks to my mom and her place, we had the place to stay and we had room, and it was like, let's open this up to some other friends that can go. And so I had not met her. She was a friend of yours that I had heard about. And yeah, I think you were just like, can my friend Christy go? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Uh-huh.
She if she's if she's a friend of yours, then she's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then so you told her, yes,
Yeah.
yes, she could go.
Well, I think Christy would describe that as like, you can't just do that. I'm like, no, you can.
You can,
That's how that works with in this. Yeah, come. Why would you not come? It's Maui.
right? Yeah. And so she, on her insistence, was, well, I'm not just going to go to Maui and stay at some guy's place that I've never even met this person before. And so yeah, I remember you being like, well, she wants to meet you first. And so, and I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, bring her over. And yeah, so that also has now spawned I don't know how many year friendship, but yes, dear friend. So it was beautiful for me to see too that you guys connected on the other side of the world, and we're
Yeah.
sharing another travel experience.
Yeah. Yeah. She's such a rock star in the way she goes about things.
I
She's
know.
like,
I can't wait
yeah.
to have her as a guest on the
Yeah,
podcast as well.
that's an immediate, yeah. It was fun. I'd never been to Greece. That's a place of the world that I'd never seen, and it was not just. It wasn't the blue and white beach house type imagery. It
Yeah,
it was the
it was.
backdoor off season. Yeah, it was way more fun. Yeah, it was cool. It was like low tide, and it it was cool. It was fun to get to know a city and that, like Thessaloniki, for example, is like kind of flies under the radar. Athens gets all the attention, but
Mhm.
Thessaloniki is like that's the that's the city I would live in. Like, that place is amazing. flies under the radar, second biggest city, just as much history, and just way more vibey. Like this, just interesting, and has a rhythm that was so fun to get in and experience. It's a great city.
Yeah, speaking of that too, I'm actually you asked before we started recording how's Montana, and I'm not there, fortunately, at the moment.
Yeah, you're in Palm Springs.
Yeah. I'm in
Yeah.
Palm Springs, and yeah, spending time with
Ugh.
mom here. So yeah.
I
That's
just
good.
I just met a girl the other day. She walked in and she's like, she was loving the bar, and out of nowhere she goes, "You seem really familiar." And I go, "Okay."
I get that a
And
lot.
then her friend goes, "Where have you lived?" And I go, and her husband is English. He's got an English accent, and was really he had the English, like, joking, like he was witty and whatnot. And I go, "Well, I'm from here, like, but I cut my teeth in L.A." She's all, "Have you ever been to the desert?" And I was like, "Yes." And then you start realizing, oh, my ex-girlfriend. Like, I was like, oh shit, okay. It wasn't a
But
bad
you
thing. It was like
but you really were familiar then. She knew you.
oh yeah, she lives in Joshua Tree. I had hung
That's
out with her in
crazy.
Joshua Tree.
Cool. Yeah.
Probably near Palm Springs, if it wasn't a Springs day. And that's where you are, right? Yeah. That's a great area.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if I even told you the story, but yeah. We had Al and I had tickets to fly down, and then our flights, because of weather, kept getting delayed. And
Right.
yeah, so we said, let's just drive. And plus, also, so I have a trip planned to go see my dad in San Antonio at the end of the month here. And so it was like we were planning on flying down here and then flying back and then be back for like a week and then fly to San Antonio. And I was like, well, if we drive down, I don't actually need to be in Montana this month at all.
Yeah.
And February is a good month to skip
This is what
weather-wise.
I love about you, is that there's these moments where you're like, oh, I don't actually have to do any of this right now. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna go over here. It's like, I don't need to know you, Christy. Just get on the boat and hang out.
Right. Right. Yeah, we can get to know each other there.
Yeah, exactly. I just love that. I love where you are right now. Um, yeah. So real
So,
quick,
yeah.
after that, just to answer the full.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I was going to say.
I like the way we podcast. We just like take way too long to answer a question. That trip, that, like, it was like, go shed some skin through Europe. My buddy
Mhm.
Mark, whose house we stayed at when we got the news that this had happened, 2 nights turns into 5 nights or whatever. Like, Mark was like, he's an incredible artist. He's like, I'm in Prague and I'm having a show and you guys should come. So I think from Greece, we went to Berlin, hung out for a couple days, and then took the train to Prague. And I'd never been to Prague, and that was beautiful. And then once you're, 2 months into a trip like that, you don't want to stop.
Right.
And
Well, okay, how far can we push this?
yeah, and then every time your mind wanders back to, oh yeah, I don't have a home, you're like, yeah, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
Which has become a big motto for me. Just keep going.
Mm. Yeah.
But there's at some point you have to sort through the ashes, so to speak. At some point you do have to go back and sort things out. But right at the end of Prague, we were like, it all kind of our we did shed some skin and we started to feel better. We for kind of like cherry on this messed up, demented, sad cake that we got served. We went to Paris and we were like, we might as well, like, have a piece of this trip that's just like us. And Paris is, for lovers. All of France is. It's like it was beautiful. It was beautiful to come full circle on that trip. We really did. I think we did some healing on that trip, and it was nice. And we went through highs and lows. Don't get me wrong. But it was just incredible. Like the space, the headspace I got into. So to answer your question, like when the bar came along, somewhere in Prague, Anna landed on committing to Portland. And we even were speaking to a realtor. We were like, we need to just know what's out there while we're away. And it came to be that we got back. We stayed with her parents for a couple weeks. We did the holidays. It was Christmas. And then, the start of 2024, there's as you can only wake up so many times in like your girlfriend's parents'
Right.
house,
Yes.
before
Yeah.
you're like, I need to make a move like now. So Portland had a really bad ice storm this time last year, but we hit up we have a friend group in Portland that really they've caught us. They've been like, we'll catch you, we'll help you. And we went and stayed with some dear friends at their house in Portland for like a month through an ice storm. I felt like I needed to like go, but really I know now that it's slow motion. I was like letting this chaos kind of like take the lead, which sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need yourself to like really like want to solve the problem, and you're throwing all your energy at it,
Yeah. Yeah. Both are useful. There's times for each when it's like, yeah, well, just you can dwell on things too much and you can dwell on things too little.
Yeah. I'm sure I wasn't like, I wasn't a bucket of fun to be around then because I felt maybe my own pressure, but just like as far as the narrative went, I could feel the pressure of solving this problem, of not having a home base, not having a lot of stuff, figuring out what I'm doing in Portland. What does this new path look like? I had my new skin, had my time away from it. I was ready to like go at it. And I'm sure I was a little neurotic at that time. There was definitely a bit of chaos for me. I was a savage on some fronts, but I dialed it in, and I have, I had great conversations with you, with others at that time. And a lot of people, they weren't afraid to point out to me like, hey, you're moving too fast. You're trying to do too much. This looks like it's going to work. This doesn't. Like, catch your breath. Like, you're trying to take one step, not run the whole marathon. Like, so, I had a lot of those conversations, and I had a job. That job helped me get a little stable, but ultimately wasn't enough. And it also didn't fulfill me. It didn't give me a sense of like, it didn't feel like that was a sense, maybe not a sense of purpose, but it didn't give me the sense of like, this is what I want to be doing. If everything's going to if the whole script is blank at the moment, like we just threw the old script away, someone burned it. I want more of and then I started to realize, oh, I want a writing credit on this one. Like you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want to just
Story
be
by me.
yeah, it's very much my life. I just spent 2.5 months running around doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do in Europe. I had a great time. And I say that like I wasn't a dumbass American across the seas, but I was like, I was enjoying my time, meeting new people, doing the things I wanted to do, dancing all night, staying up late, seeing a new city, doing it. It's easy to be on vacation, but a lot of people sometimes like forget to live and enjoy. And I very much in shedding my skin during that time period, I enjoyed it. I was seeing new things for the first time. There's the flip side. That wouldn't have happened if this other thing didn't have happened. It's like there's a real opportunity in the mindset to like shift and have gratitude, you know? So yeah. So I wanted to have a writing credit. So I took all the resources, all the help that anyone had given, and some people would call it a life savings, but I'm like, I'm always going to go out and make money. Like that's just a part of living. on earth. I don't feel like I definitely spent too much money on certain things, but for my first time doing a bar and for wanting it to get it right, I got it right. And I'm still getting it right. It's still evolving. I'm still learning. It's still growing. But I went for it. And you were there during the early stages of the demo and flipping it from one look to another. So yeah, I started that in June of 2024, somewhere around there. And it took 3 months to finish. I opened up in a little over, I guess, 3 months. And then we opened up technically in October with a grand opening in November. And we've just been rocking into this new year as best we can. And it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's a place that is a safe space. It's an all-day neighborhood bar that pushes into a sexy, fun cocktail lounge hour and, connects with community, connects with local artists, connects with DJs and musicians. And we're cultivating community while being a part of it. If you need some food and drink, it's a new place to go.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and it looks good and it feels right. Like a lot of people say we nailed the vibe. That,
That's great.
yeah, that was like me, really trying to self-express, but also, what do I do now type of feeling. It was me realizing that I can get the writing credit and I can have some fun and I think it's just really beautiful. I think there was an article recently written about us, Willamette Week, a local publication, and a good one at that. And the guy that wrote it, Andrew, was a real sweetheart. He was like, Hooper finds beauty in what comes after destruction. Like this piece of this story is beautiful. Like it's painful, but it's like if you can self-express and you can take that grief, and this is part of the process, if you can take it and shape it, you can use it. It's just great to have a place that is bringing people together and letting them feel connection. I think that's the most important thing in life, is that we feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say, knowing you as I do, that's one of your greatest strengths is connecting people and
Oh, thanks.
connecting yourself with people. I mean, apparently effortlessly, but it's like, it's just it's a quality that you have, is that you meet people everywhere you go. And part of that, I'm sure, is because, as you said earlier, it's people. It's valuing people. That's
Yeah,
like the greatest commodity on earth.
absolutely.
And now you have created this space, and in our texts back and forth talking about it, yeah, you've mentioned that this is your zone of genius.
Yeah, that's from the Big Leap book, right?
Yeah, right.
I didn't actually get to finish that book, but I did get to that part. I did, where it's like, oh, I get to just like keep tinkering at this thing.
And that's what is at the heart of this, is like is what you've created is something. It's not just another bar. It's a place where you are cultivating community. And also, why, I mean, for me from the outside, um yeah, you're the perfect person to do that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I love it. I do love it. I think, a lot of people go ask me, why'd you name the bar Afterlife? Like, do you know that's the name of a bar in the video game Cyberpunk? A lot of people tell me, but a lot of people are curious, like, why I named the bar Afterlife. And it came from wanting to name a bar something else, but it also is just this layered thing that's acknowledging loss. And we've all lost somebody, um, near or not, but just like, that acknowledgement of that layer is important. The acknowledgement of like, oh, this is an old life, this is my afterlife, is important. And then it's like, maybe that's not someplace else. Maybe it's just right here, right now. You can get as far reaching with it as you want, but at the end of the day, it's just a cool name. for a bar. It's just, this sounds good. Like I mean, like, good, think about it. Think of how many different, like, you go through your whole day and it feels, you do some things that, some people do some work that they hate and it feels like, oh, this Tuesday was a work, just, it felt like a lifetime.
Yeah,
Well,
right. Yeah, you
it's
clock out and go to
yeah,
your afterlife.
yeah, come hang out with me.
Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
how well it rolls off the tongue to say after party at Afterlife.
Exactly. This
Right.
is where the drinks flow. It's fun. It's supposed to be a good time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was just gonna say, I know we got more to talk about. We could talk forever. That's the problem with me being your first guest. You and I could just do this forever.
yeah, exactly. But I did want to ask you, like, so now that you have a ton of bartending experience and opening places for other people, this is your first bar that you owned yourself. So I'm curious what surprises you found along the way, something that you didn't expect, or biggest lesson learned in doing your own entrepreneurial venture.
That's a great question. I think any time you set out to do anything new, have a pretty good, like, for me being, like, in this industry long enough, I had a pretty good idea of, like, the framework. I know the setup, I know what it takes, I know that this operation needs to look like that. But what you don't anticipate is, it's like every specific, okay, let's, like, specifically the bar, like, what I didn't expect was everything is usually look like unique to its location. So, I the room had a lot, the place we took over had a lot of build out in the middle of the room that I wanted to take out and open up, for example. That also opened up a hollow, cavernous room that is now, so if you play music at a certain level, it is problematic for how old the building is, for example. So, I've already gotten some noise complaints, and there's no part of me that wants to be a bad neighbor, but there is a part of me that is maybe too busy on any given night to check the level at the exact time it needs to be checked, and be making, there's all these adjustments that you miss throughout the course of an evening. So I think for me, it was like, that was one of my, besides, remodeling condos and stuff like that. And that work that we did was so long ago now, to jump back into it and bring that part of myself back was really fun. But I didn't, it was like, you build it one way, you have a set of problems. You build it another way, there's a different set of problems. Like, there's always this little trade-off for each decision that you make.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with the the trade-offs. So I wasn't anticipating that. I wasn't anticipating that I would have to get it to be one way. You're gonna have to do this and then make all these adjustments as you go. I think that's, it's, you can tell it's the first one type of thing. It's like, okay, cool.
More to
These
learn.
Yeah, these lessons are gonna inform the next bar, you know what I mean? It's like, "Oh, now I know what to look out for." So anytime you spatially change something dramatically, it's think of what's behind that or not. I think those right now, that's the big one. Our next build out that we have to do, and then I'm done fucking with the bar, is that we have to do like an insulated drop ceiling, but insulated like studio grade, where it's absorbing sound at
But
different,
yeah.
you know, so that it needs air gaps, it needs certain materials, and it's just costly at that point. And then also, one of the biggest things I didn't anticipate was, and my buddy Mark pointed it out to me, that you you never want to burn bridges. So just the initial wanting to do this was like being able to hold on to something else, like another job, or basically finances, in a certain way that allows you to not basically burn through a lot of cash in the process of fully taking hold of the new thing, right? It's it's like, it's that mapping it out and being able to hit certain, I guess, benchmarks, like, before you really put both feet. It's really being able to, it's much like the Smith and Savage. It's like this being able to be like have a foot in one place and a foot in another place,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, I'm going Savage on this one, and then taking that, going for it. But yeah, I wasn't anticipating that being so difficult. For example, I mean that's hard, but it's like
Yeah, that's a
actually,
lot of
yeah,
added pressure
yeah,
as
it's
well.
like yeah, and
Where
then
like the
because
thing's hard enough as it is, but
yeah. And it's like that then I even got backlash, in the process from the employer being like, "Well, I wish you would have given us more of a heads up." And I was like, "Well, this is it. Like here's the conversation. I'm sorry." And I did. I apologize, That was important to acknowledge that you could have played it better. You know, I've never had to make that play before. And it also is not like I'm trying to keep some sort of secret. I just am not, you want to feel like the ground you're stepping onto is actually solid.
yeah.
Um, so
Yeah, it's like not letting go of the branch you're holding before you next one.
yeah, that buddy H that I mentioned earlier, he said, all work is looking at a bird and watching it fly from that branch to that branch. That's work. That's all it is being able to make that, to bridge that gap. And your wings are flapping like hard, but as long as you get to that other branch, did the work. So, and even when you're on that branch, you're every day is like something to do, and then you're just bouncing around that tree all day.
So
Yeah,
what's next?
I think what's next is staying focused. Stay focused, stay growing. I've learned to work ahead of myself in ways that I haven't before, and that's exciting. And so what's next is like figuring out what March and April looks like. And then I think the biggest thing what's next is I turn 40 in
Yeah,
May. Yeah. So
and I'll be there.
yes, you will. You have to. It's wanting things to be in a certain place, business wise and effort wise, getting more and more of the crew. I have a handful of people that show up on the busy nights and help me make the thing happen. But oftentimes I'm pretty bootstrapped and doing a lot of work myself. But I think the next biggest thing is cultivating more of the culture of the bar, not necessarily the drinking side of the bar, but the working side, like the internal engine. And yeah, and getting more people on the team and being able to step out from behind the bar and lead. All the people I work with are so cool. They lead without authority. And I think that that's crucial. I want to make sure that they know that I built a stage. I'm a rock star. You're a rock star. It's time to play. Like, I want people to feel empowered at that bar and to just do it really well. So I've been very fortunate to meet some amazing people. So I think what's next is to cultivate that, and then also um, to step into being able to look further ahead with that beat of enjoying it, when you get involved in these things. And I think isn't that one of the things from the coaching course? Like enjoyment it's a form of, it's like its own energy. So I think being able to enjoy it on my 40th will just be not a task, but it will be something in and of itself to truly be present with.
That's epic to be there for your 40th.
Yeah. Just enjoy it.
Okay, so by way of wrapping up, is there anything else that any words of wisdom that you would share with the audience, or any asks that you might have?
Yeah, I ask that people, if you know anyone in a hard situation or going through some crazy life stuff, just go, reach out, say hi. Make sure people always check in on those that you love. I'm the worst at doing that, so I say it for myself. I think one of my favorite things I ever heard is my friend. My friend actually, I think she lost somebody years ago, but his saying was like breed peace and be love. And I think that that's really important. I always say live loud, live loud, breed peace, be love, live loud. You got this. It's okay. Everything's going to be all right. Keep going.
And love wins.
Love does win. Always. Even when you don't think it won, it won.
Where can people follow up with you and see what great things you're up to?
I personally don't do a lot of social media, like for myself. So it's very much a Afterlife thing. So bar.afterlife is the Instagram. The other thing I'm really excited about is that cultivating culture and bringing community and having that bar work be about something more is fun in the sense of like I have DJs record live sets. So you can find us like the web presence, and then it's not just a social media presence, but it's like get it if you want to taste, if you want to hear what the place might sound like on a Saturday. Some of our DJs are recording live
Yes.
and those are on SoundCloud.
Awesome. Okay, good.
So you can like go to the Instagram, bar.afterlife. You can go to SoundCloud, Omar Kemp, DJ OKOHHKAY. If you type that in with Afterlife, the bar Afterlife recording that he did live will come up. And you can also go to our website. That's on our website, afterlifepdx.bar. And on our website is Live at Afterlife with some recorded live DJ sets that happened in the venue.
Very nice.
Then also, if you want to like come have a drink, you just come find me in the Afterlife. We're serving great drinks in Portland, Oregon, 37th and Hawthorne.
I love it, man.
Well, this was very meaningful, and it felt good to slow down and connect to that story more. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being so open and being willing to share that. I love you, man.
I love you too.
All right, catch you later.
Okay. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye. If you'd like to help support victims of the Lahaina wildfire, here are 3 trusted places to donate that we recommend. One is Lahaina Strong, which Bobby mentioned in the episode, and donations there help with local initiatives, advocacy for equitable support, and long-term recovery efforts that put Lahaina residents first. Another one is the GoFundMe Maui Wildfire Relief Fund, and all fundraisers on this page are verified by GoFundMe's Trust and Safety team, and you can either donate to the general fund or you can find individual community fundraisers that you may have connected with in the past from visits to Maui. And there's also the Maui Strong Fund through the Hawaii Community Foundation, which helps with both immediate and long-term recovery efforts. You can find links to all of these and further descriptions in the show notes at smithandsavage.com/podcast. Hey everyone, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to hear more or check out the show notes, head over to smithandsavage.com and sign up for the Hey Buddy newsletter for updates on future episodes. You can also follow along on Instagram at smithandsavage. Until next time, this is your host, Levi Pollard, reminding you to be civilized, stay wild.